Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really getting into a significant work, Bessel van der Kolk's 2014 book, The Body Keeps the Score. You know, the one subtitled, Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma. Yeah, and our mission here really is to unpack what makes this book so groundbreaking. We want to explore how trauma isn't just mental, but how it leaves this deep physical imprint. And importantly, the sometimes surprising ways the book suggests for healing. We're drawing on summaries, reviews, analysis, quite a bit of material, because the core idea, and it's a big one, is that trauma physically reshapes your brain and body. It's not just a story you tell yourself, ignoring the physical side. Well, that has real consequences. Okay, so let's unpack this. The really central idea van der Kolk brings from all his research, decades of it, neuroscience too, is that trauma isn't just a memory, it gets physically stamped onto you. Your brain chemistry actually changes, your nervous system kind of rewires itself, for survival. And he talks about body memory. What does that actually look like for someone experiencing it?
Well, it often looks like those involuntary flashbacks, right? Or being constantly hypervigilant, always on edge, scanning for danger, even when things are actually safe.
Right.
Or sometimes the opposite, this sort of deep emotional numbness, a feeling of being disconnected, not just from other people, but even from your own physical self. These aren't just thoughts, you see. They're your body physically holding the score of what happened. Your internal alarm system gets stuck on high alert.
That's a really powerful way to put it. So it's less about consciously remembering and more like your body is just reacting, as if the danger is still present. What's going on inside the brain specifically when that happens?
Yeah, what's fascinating, and van der Kolk goes into this deeply, is how trauma disrupts the brain's stress systems. You've got the amygdala, that's like the brain's smoke detector, the fear alarm. Then the hippocampus, which is key for, making memories and putting them in context, time, place. And the prefrontal cortex, your rational thinking, decision-making part. When these get overwhelmed by trauma, they basically go offline or get deregulated. The amygdala might stay hyperactive, constantly screaming danger. And the hippocampus, it struggles to file the memory properly. So it's hard to tell the difference between the past threat and present safety. That's why survivors can feel like they're reliving it, stuck in that loop, not processing it as something that's over.
I see. And that ties directly into this idea that the body remembers, doesn't it? How does that show up, even if someone is consciously trying to, push it away or forget?
Oh, it's incredibly powerful. Even when the conscious mind tries to suppress it, the body, it keeps holding on to the effects. This might come out as chronic physical tension, like persistent neck pain, backaches, things like that. Or various stress-related illnesses can pop up.
Yeah.
And that ongoing emotional dysregulation, where feelings just feel huge, overwhelming, or totally unpredictable, your body is still sort of braced for impact long after the impact is gone. It's automatic, often unconscious.
Wow. Okay, so if trauma lodges itself so physically, it really makes you question, are the ways we've traditionally tried to heal trauma, like talk therapy, enough? That's where van der Kolk starts to challenge things, right?
He absolutely does. His argument is that traditional talk therapy, while definitely valuable for insight, often isn't sufficient on its own for deep trauma. Why? Because it mainly works with the cognitive thinking mind.
The story about it.
Exactly. The narrative. But it might not directly address the physical imprint, the stuff stored in those more primitive, nonverbal parts of the brain and body. So it raises a big question. If the body's keeping score, how do we actually communicate with the body for healing?
Right. That's where it gets really interesting. So if just talking isn't always enough, what does he suggest works?
Well, connecting this to the bigger picture, the book really champions these more holistic, body-based approaches, things that speak directly to those nonverbal systems. He details several specific, sometimes surprising methods like EMDR, that's eye movement desensitization and reprocessing.
Okay, I've heard of that. How does it work?
It uses guided eye movements or sometimes other bilateral stimulation like taps or sounds to help the brain basically reprocess and file away those stuck traumatic memories. It's kind of like it helps mimic the brain's natural processing during REM sleep. The goal is to help the memory lose its intense emotional charge, so it just becomes a memory, not something you constantly re-experience.
So you're helping the brain finish a job it got stuck on because of the trauma?
Pretty much, yeah. Then there's neurofeedback. This is interesting. It's like training wheels for your brainwaves. It helps people learn to regulate their own brain activity through real-time feedback, usually visual or auditory. It can help calm down that overactive fear center, the amygdala, or maybe activate parts of the prefrontal cortex that shut down. It's very personalized brain training. And beyond those, he really emphasizes things like yoga, and mindfulness meditation. These practices bring awareness back into the body, gently, safely, helping survivors feel grounded in the present moment again.
Reconnecting with the physical self.
Exactly. And he also highlights things like theater, dance, movement, creative art. These offer nonverbal ways to express, process, and release things that words might not be able to capture.
It makes sense that healing wouldn't just be mental. But it's not solely about these individual techniques either, is it? He talks a lot about community and connection. How critical is that?
Oh, absolutely vital. While these body-based practices are key, van der Kolk strongly emphasizes that healing rarely happens in isolation. Trauma often shatters our ability to trust, leading to deep loneliness. So safe, supportive relationships, communities, these are crucial spaces, places where survivors can slowly, carefully rebuild trust, not just in other people, but also in themselves, and their own ability to feel safe in the world again. It's about reestablishing that sense of secure connection.
That makes so much sense. Let's talk about the title itself for a moment. The body keeps the score. It's such a potent phrase. What's the symbolism there, really?
It's incredibly symbolic, isn't it?
Yes.
That title serves as this constant, almost visceral reminder. Trauma isn't just an event that happened back then or a story you can just think your way out of. It's a physical reality etched into your very being, like a ledger where every hit, every painful experience has left a mark. Your body is literally holding the score.
Wow. And the symbolism you mentioned earlier, movement, creative arts that must tie in too.
Definitely. They're not just activities. They symbolize liberation, reclaiming your agency, your sense of control after trauma perhaps made you feel powerless or frozen. To move your body freely, to create something new, to express yourself without words. It's a powerful way to represent regaining that internal freedom, moving through the freeze.
This book really did shake things up in psychology and therapy circles. What would you say is its most significant contribution?
It's truly groundbreaking because it builds these bridges between neuroscience, psychology, and more holistic healing approaches. It offered a real paradigm shift, challenging the heavy reliance, especially in Western psychiatry, on just medication and cognitive therapies.
Which had been dominant for so long.
For a very long time. And perhaps most importantly, it validates the lived experience of survivors. It essentially says, look, what you feel physically, the tension, the disconnection, the overwhelm, it's real. It's not imagined. Your body's reacting precisely how it's wired to react after what happened. Yeah. That validation itself is incredibly healing for many people. It reinforces that true, deep healing needs to address both mind and body. You can't really separate them.
Okay, so bringing this all together for you, our listener, what are the big takeaways? Well, the book's strengths are widely praised. It explains really complex brain science in a way most people can grasp. It's deeply compassionate, and it offers practical approaches that go beyond the usual talk therapy or medication route. Plus, that crucial emphasis on the mind-body connection, which, let's be honest, often gets sidelined. Now, we should mention the common critiques, too. Some find it a bit dense in places, with all the technical detail, and accessibility is a real issue. Therapies like EMDR or neurofeedback can be expensive or just hard to find, depending on where you live. But even with those points, the consensus is pretty clear. It's seen as a transformative, essential read if you want to understand trauma. Ultimately, The Body Keeps the Score isn't just, a dry textbook. It feels more like a compassionate guide, a roadmap for understanding trauma's deep reach, but also for finding genuine paths to healing. It sends a really powerful, hopeful message. Trauma doesn't have to be a life sentence.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It affirms that with the right approaches, often ones that really engage the body, people can reclaim that feeling of safety, connect with themselves again, and find joy. They can forge a path to a more integrated life.
So as you think about all of this, here's something to maybe mull over. How might really understanding that your body holds memories change how you approach your own healing, or even just how you handle everyday stress? And maybe what avenues could you explore to reconnect with your own body's sort of innate wisdom?